So what is it about polarizing characters that makes them so drawing or repelling to us? Some people might say that it's like they are putting their stake in the ground and stating their truth and being open about it, and some people agree or some people disagree. Maybe that's part of it, but I have this other theory that has to do with more of the shadow work stuff that I've been exposed to. So earlier tonight, I just got back from the UFC 246 Conor McGregor Donald Cerrone fight. Awesome, by the way. First of all, I don't have any sports teams that I really love. The school I went to, the football team, yeah, I want them to win, but if they lose, I'm not emotionally invested into it. I've never had that before. And yet, when Conor McGregor fights, I am so deeply emotionally invested in the fight. I want him to win so badly. It's like, I'm a huge fan. And I was explaining this to a friend earlier, and a friend who doesn't know anything about him. And he's like, why are you such a big fan of him? And I just brushed it off and I was like, I don't know. And then later I was like, of course I know. And then all these things came to me of what makes me so drawn to him. And it's a list. It's like, the first thing is that clearly he says whatever he wants. If you know who he is, he says whatever he wants to say. He's like the first time I ever saw him in a press conference, I was like, who is this jabroni? I do not like this guy.
Look at everybody up here. They're all dressed like me. They're all trying to talk like me. They're all trying to be me. Everyone in the game wants this fight.
He's such an asshole. And then something flipped and I turned out to totally fall in love with him. I don't know what happened, but so first of all, he says whatever he wants to say. He's completely unapologetic.
I've ridiculed everyone on the roster. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
And that is so awesome to me. And what I realized is that it resonates so deeply with somebody who I'm not, or somebody who my shell of the thing that I project to the world is not, and is not allowed to be, according to my old belief systems. And it's something that I'm stripping away and working on and stuff, but it's something that he could so easily just walk into a room and just be like I'm wearing Gucci mink, who's the man here? Or whatever he says. And it's so fucking awesome. And it's there's a part of me that deeply, deeply resonates with that. Now I believe, and I feel like I have solid reason to believe this. I can feel it in my body that there's a part of me that wants that. There's a deep part in my lower energy centers that's I want that. And so when I see him do that, it's such an inspiration, and it's almost like a part of me is a champion out there doing that. And I'm so yes, fuck yeah, I want that. And so it's really inspiring for me, and it actually helps me move into more of that space. So the second reason is you can't just have that unapologetic sort of you can, but if you're being as outrageous as he is I don't think that's the reason I didn't like him at first, is because he was just being so outrageous and I didn't know anything about him. But then he started backing it up by matching the outrageousness of his personality with the outrageousness of his fights. He was doing things like knocking out champions, world champions in the first round. He was calling it before the match.
I said I was gonna put him away in the first round. I put him away in the first round. There's not a man alive that can come on this soil and beat me.
Just doing all these things that were stepping up the level of the game that people hadn't seen before. And he earned his nickname Mystic Mac because he was predicting fight outcomes and stuff. He was backing up the outrageousness of his personality with the work and doing something that he was so invested in. And that is the second thing that I'm so now I know why I like him so much, because there's a part of him that just deeply just commits to his craft so hardcore and so committedly, whatever the word is, that his fighting style and things that he performs as are things that people haven't seen before, because he's so focused. I mean, he's probably got a lot of talent too, but it's just he's just doing things that people haven't seen before. And there's a part of me that, I don't want to be a UFC fighter, but there's a part of me that knows that there's a craft that I have, that's something that I can just give myself so apologetically and so wholeheartedly that it's that I know that there's things out there that want to come out that are pushing the envelope. those are the only really two reasons that I think of why I'm such a big fan of him. But when I looked at those reasons, I'm sure there's more, but I mean, he's like charismatic and hilarious and stuff. But so far, that's like the two things that I resonate so much with him. So the reason we are so drawn, I think, to people that are polarizing, that we like, is that there's a part of us that we want to be, that we don't feel like we can be, that we see them and we're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be like that, but you can, and oh, I fucking wish I could, God. Like deep, 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 like parts of ourselves that want to come out and that we somehow in their weird belief systems don't believe we can. So it's like so inspiring to see them do that. And if we see them, we can actually like use that to like discover these parts of ourselves and like, oh, I can be that way. I can like sit into that in my energy and use those people to actually let them inspire us and be more like them. And so the reason I think that the opposite end of the spectrum works, so as far as like polarizing people that trigger us, is the same thing, except it's parts of ourselves that we do not want, that we're like ashamed or embarrassed of. So if someone's very like outwardly hatred or something like that, there's a part of me that's like, oh, like fucking, what's up? I can't believe they're like that. And it's a part of me who's like the shadow part of myself that's has hatred in it, has anger, has a hatred, and like is outlandish with it. So we can actually, see people like that and heal our wounds that way by accepting those parts of ourselves and loving those parts of ourselves. I'm not saying you have to love that person that like really triggers you, but use that as a tool, as like looking for what triggers us. So if Conor McGregor triggers you, then use that to heal yourself and start loving the Mystic Mac, dude. What are you doing? All right, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Peace.